This is my great aunt Donalda. I never got to know too much of who she was, but as I'm looking back on the photos that were left behind, all I can see is a person who lived an adventurous life spending quality time with people. She traveled the world, she made art, and just loved the outdoors. And even in her later years, she always made a point of doing something and staying active. And eventually she settled down in the mountains of British Columbia and stayed there for a good chunk of time until one day she discovered that the sun was taking too much of a toll on her skin, so she packed up and moved cross country to down the street from my great uncle's place in St. Stephen, New Brunswick. And that was around the time that I made a trip to go touch the ocean. And my family let me know that my Aunt Donalda had just recently moved out east, and so I made a point of going to see her. And after our hangout of catching up together, she wanted to take me to the cemetery where our family is buried and where herself will be buried in the future, and she wanted her photo taken there. And I didn't know that that was going to be the last time that I would see my aunt before she passed away. So I called up my Uncle Herb, and I said, "Uncle Herb, I want to go to the funeral, when is it?" And he's like, "Well, it's Wednesday at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It's Wednesday in the afternoon." And it was Monday afternoon when I called him, and it takes like 18 hours to drive out there. The wagon is my baby, and I was kind of concerned going all that distance by myself with a car that might break down, because it's still a car, like you don't know what's going to happen. I didn't come financially prepared for anything that would happen to my car. I gave my car a run over, and all it needed was some tires, really. That was the start, is I don't want to pop a tire, so I bought some new tires, and that evening I left for St. Stephen. And I remember sitting, looking at Google Maps, realizing how far St. Stephen was compared to Hamilton, and I just had to not think about it and do it. So anyway, I just drove straight there, and I pulled up to his place at 10 in the evening. So I showed up to the funeral the next day. We did what funerals do, and it was just really weird, obviously, to like be back at the cemetery as like my next time being in the East Coast. But anyway, I ended up meeting more family that I didn't know about who live in Miramichi, so shout out to you guys. We got back, we had some ice cream, and then I found out that my Uncle Ron and it's either Steve or Andrew. It's Uncle Steve. So anyways, I found out that my Uncle Ron and some more family are out just down the street from Oak Bay, which is the swimming hole that my aunt took me to. That was crazy. So we're sitting there catching up around a fire with some family that, again, I barely know. The trailer park that we were staying at, they were hosting some fireworks down at the water. So we go down to the water, and I'm sitting there watching the fireworks, and just my mind is going, and I'm like, just a couple days ago my aunt was still alive, and like, look how easy it was for me to get out here, and like, if only I took the time to make my way here and made it more of a priority. Like, I realized how valuable time was, and we don't just have it all just like sitting there. So that was like a big life thought for me right there, is that like, learn more about myself as I learn more about family. It just opened my eyes for like what I can be learning with the rest of my family, and like, there's so much that's still here in front of me, and my mind wasn't there, and it took my aunt to pass away to realize what's still in front of me and what I could be learning. And so in conclusion, we just got to put ourselves where we want to be, and we're not given all the time in the world, so let's be intentional with our time. I got to start being intentional with the time that I'm given, and shout out to the fam in the East Coast that's blood related and non-blood related. And just, as always, keep pursuing what you love, and pursue what you love. I'm not even going to say what comes next, just pursue what you love. Use your time wisely, because you don't know how much time you're going to have or people around you are going to have. So be where you want to be and pursue what you love.